Come on in, Mr. Duffy. How are you?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm good. Take a seat. So, would you prefer if I called you Mr. Duffy or Matt? What's more comfortable for you?
Matt's fine.
Okay, great. Matt, how are you feeling today?
Depressed, sluggish, just tired of everything.
Okay, well, I just want to introduce myself to you. My name is Stephanie Rossi, and I'm the social worker here at Safe Haven in Florida Rehabilitation Center, and I'll be working with you for your 60-day treatment that we're going to have here. And I'm just going to be here to help you and talk to you through everything you need. So you said you were stressed out, and I see that you've been referred to me by the court. So can you tell me why you're here?
In all honesty, I got in a fight at a bar. I was on drugs. I was really drunk. I was out with my buddies. And, this guy came up to me and got in my face. And of course, I wasn't all there. I was blacked out. And just, I turned out hitting him. And, just a fight broke out between everybody.
Okay. So I just wanted to give this to you before we fully get started. This is our informed consent here at the center. It just says that you understand that talking to me is completely voluntary. You don't have to be speaking with me. You can pull out anytime you want and stop our conversations. What you say in these sessions are completely confidential. They're between you and I, and they're private. Unless there is any indication that you're planning on hurting yourself or someone else, I just want to keep everyone safe. So as long as everything's okay with what we're talking about, then I'd be glad to keep it between you and I. So if you just wanted to read over our informed consent, just make sure you understand everything, and just let me know if you have any questions. I'd be glad to explain anything.
All right, I'll sign it now. I understand.
Okay, great. All right, so let's get started. How old are you, Matt? I'll take that.
I'm 22.
And where are you living?
Well, I was living up in Massachusetts. I'm originally from New York.
Okay. And where's the furthest that you've gone in your education?
I dropped out of high school when I was 16, and I haven't had any more education than that.
Okay, did you pursue your GED at all?
No, I have not.
All right, and what are you doing for work right now?
I was doing construction until I hurt my back, and I was put on disability because I couldn't work anymore. So right now I'm currently unemployed.
Okay, were you prescribed medicine for your disability, for your back pain?
Yeah, they gave me some type of painkillers.
All right. Do you know what kind of painkillers? Were they Vicodins, Percocets?
Percocets.
Okay. Are you married?
No.
No. And do you have any children?
Yeah, I have 2.
2 children. That's great. How old are they?
3 and 1.
Okay. And do you currently live with them or get to see them?
No, not lately since the whole bar fight and everything. And I'm not living with them. I'm currently not living with really anyone.
Okay. And where are your children living right now?
They're at my grandparents right now because I was living there. But then when everything happened, my kids had to go somewhere. So they went to live with my grandparents, and I had to move out. I was kicked out, essentially.
Wow.
And now I'm just...
Sorry to hear that. That's hard.
Yeah, it is.
So let's just talk about just why you're here, essentially, why you're here at a substance abuse clinic. Do you smoke cigarettes?
Yes.
How often do you smoke cigarettes?
Every day.
And how much do you smoke in a day?
Probably half a pack. Sometimes I have smoked a pack in a day. Just really depends.
Okay, and what does it depend on?
How stressed I am or
Stress.
the type of
Okay.
day.
All right. And when you're stressed, you smoke more?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. And how often do you drink alcohol?
Every day.
Every day? And what do you drink?
Scotch, basically. Sometimes beer and liquor, really everything. Whatever helps me.
How long have you been drinking?
Since I was like 14, I think.
Since you were 14. So you were in high school?
Yeah.
All right. And so the prescription medicine that you were prescribed for your back pain, are you still on that medicine?
Yes.
So do you take that in a way that's not prescribed by your doctor? Do you take more?
Yeah, sometimes it really helps, so sometimes I take way more than I'm supposed to.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about your illegal drug use. This can kind of go through the whole spectrum of marijuana, cocaine, LSD, ecstasy, the new Molly drug, heroin, anything of that sort. So what illegal drugs do you use?
Everything really. I've tried about everything in my life, but mostly just marijuana, and when I want something a little stronger and it's cheap, I go to heroin.
Okay, so those are the two that you've been using most recently?
Yeah, yeah.
How often do you use?
I would say every day.
Every day you use marijuana and heroin?
Oh, yeah, more than I want to.
And what's the amount of use?
I'd say frequently. I drink maybe a 12 pack a day and some shots. Shoot up about 7 to 8 times a day. I'm afraid.
Okay, and when was the last time you drank?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, before you got here?
Yeah.
And when was the last time you used heroin?
Yesterday.
And when was the last time you used marijuana?
Yesterday.
Okay, and what about your prescription painkillers? When was the last time you've taken those not in the way your doctor prescribed them?
It's actually been a couple days.
A couple days was the last time you taken them? Okay.
Yeah.
And so you said you started pretty young. So you started young at 14 with drinking. What about with marijuana, heroin?
It all started with beer and then went to liquor.
Mhm.
And it just kept going downhill to cigarettes and weed.
Okay.
And eventually, to heroin, a couple of years later.
How old were you when you started using heroin?
Maybe 18.
Okay, and your children were born when you were 19 and about 21?
Yeah.
Okay, and so have you been using the time when they were born?
Yeah.
Okay, and what about your significant other? Do you have a relationship with her?
Well, no, my baby mama, we used to be close in high school before he dropped out, but once he got real bad with the drugs and everything, then we had, my kids, just everything, I started using a lot, and we were fighting, and now we don't even speak, especially after everything's going down right now.
Okay, and I see here that you had another assault charge stemming from your mother of your children. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we got in a fight, and I was high and a little drunk, and she was yelling at me because I was out all night, and I basically I hit her. She called the cops, and they took the kids away for a little bit.
So your children were in the house when this happened?
Yeah.
Okay. And so do you always use the same amount of drugs and alcohol that you've been finding yourself using maybe a year or two ago, or has it been increasing or decreasing as you've gotten older?
It's been increasing as I've gotten older.
It's been increasing. Does
Scares me.
that concern you? It scares you. So I just wanted to talk about your other relationships in your life. Do your friends use drugs and alcohol?
Yeah, most of my friends. I have one friend that tries to talk me out of it, but I hang out with the wrong crowd, and most of them do it.
Right, I understand. And do your parents use?
What? Well, I don't know who my dad is. I've never met him. He wasn't around when I was younger. My mom, she is an alcoholic, and she does drugs. So when I was 6 or 7, they took me, away from my mom. And I was living with my grandparents after that.
Oh, wow. Thanks for sharing that with me. That must have been really hard for you. What's your relationship like with your mom right now?
I mean, after I got kicked out, I went and, started seeing her a little bit, hanging out with her, but I turned out doing drugs and drinking with her.
Oh, so you're using with your mom? Is she the one you use with most frequently?
No, I wouldn't say most frequently, but lately, she hasn't been the best influence on me. Ever since this whole thing went down, I was kicked out.
That's hard.
Yeah.
How do you think alcohol and your drug use helps you?
I just think it helps, ease the pain. Gets me through the days that are hard and long. And it's a way to escape and, make people feel bad for me, maybe. I'm not sure.
So it helps you get away from your troubles?
Yeah.
So what else do you think are your troubles that you're having in life right now?
I have no family, alcohol and drugs, just depression, suicidal thoughts in the past. It's just been any way to escape these problems.
Okay, so you were saying you had some suicidal thoughts. Are you feeling like you're having some thoughts right now? or recently in the past couple of days since arriving here?
No, not suicidal thoughts. I've been just wondering why me, why is everything happening, why does my life sucked? But I just since I've had kids, I really, I know I can't leave them. So suicide thoughts is, that would be selfish. I've just been thinking about why I've messed up so bad, and just the easiest way to get through it is still using drugs because it calms me down with all these problems.
Okay, so that's your way of escaping instead of actually going through with any sort of suicidal plan. Have you tried to commit suicide before?
A couple of years ago.
Okay.
I cut my wrist.
Mhm.
Kind of hoping, but was more crying out for pain and just I was high when I did it.
Right.
And obviously, I was fine after a while with that, because I cut my wrist, but they found me before I bled out, and now I'm just more depressed and just using drugs instead of thinking suicidal thoughts, really, because of my kids.
Okay, and when was the last time you had one of these thoughts?
Maybe a year or two ago.
A year or two ago. Okay, that's good. That's good. At least you're feeling better and just not thinking about taking, that step. So we're going to be working on this. So have you ever been to a therapist before or seen a social worker or a psychologist? Because you've been through a lot. It would be understandable if you have.
One time when the last incident happened, they tried to have me go see a therapist, but I thought it was all, BS, to be honest.
Right, I understand.
But now this is the last hope, really. So
right.
I figured I'd give it another try, see if it works.
All right, so we talked about your incident that brought you here, which was the assault charge on the person in the club. Have you acted out aggressively before, or was this your first time? Well, I see there was the one incident with your significant other at the time, but besides that, have you been aggressive growing up?
I mean, like any kid, I guess. I used to, be a bully, just, joke around, but, I used to get mad, but I never really, besides hitting my, child's mother, it hasn't been that bad besides this last incident.
All right. So, do you want to work on your aggression while you're here? Do we want to talk about it and figure out a new plan to get through some things when they're frustrating us?
I mean, I don't really like to talk about it. That's why I usually just use drugs.
Right, I understand.
But, I mean, if it's going to save me and, let my kids see me again, then I'm willing to try, I guess.
Okay, well, I just wanted to praise you on making this great choice to be here and be here talking to me. You could have chosen to go to jail and ride out your sentence there and move on with your life, but it shows that you're really being proactive and trying to just change and make things better for yourself and your family and your children, and that's going to be great. So, let's talk about your grandmother. It seems like she's been a really good support in your life. Is she someone that you've always been able to rely on?
I mean, yeah, she took me in when I was like, my mom when I had to get taken away from my mom, and I didn't have a dad, and just, my grandparents, they just took me in, but now there's nothing they can do anymore. I've done this to myself, I think.
So your relationship's a little damaged right now?
Yeah, now it's just with everybody. All my relationships are kind of damaged.
Right, yeah, but it seems like she still really cares about you. She's taking care of your two children right now, which is amazing of her to do that.
Yeah, she has. She's been great.
Mhm. So, what do you think are the things that are getting in the way of your sobriety? What do you think is going to be the hardest things for you to overcome while being here?
Just, my past, knowing how bad it's been, and just, the people I hang out with all use, and
right.
It feels good, even though it might be bad for me and kill me one day. It just everything seems good when I'm high, or fun when I'm drinking. It's just the easy way out.
Well, I've heard you mention your kids a lot of times and how they're really just something that keeps you going. So do you think that's the main focus you have in working on your sobriety right now are those two little kids?
Yeah, I want to get better for them. I mean, I hope I can, but like my parents, I don't know if they tried, but they obviously couldn't fix what they had wrong, and I don't want that to happen to my kids, but I feel like it just runs in the family.
Right, and that's makes sense that you would think that. So we're gonna get to work on that. So I just wanted to ask you, let's make some plans for our goals. If you could have 3 wishes, what would they be?
To stay out of jail,
That's a good one.
sober up,
Mhm.
see my kids again one day.
Okay. So in the next 60 days, we can plan on some steps that we can take to achieve these wishes. They may not, get to the place we want them to be, but at least in these next 60 days, we'll make a plan that we'll be getting towards reaching these goals. So what do you think we should start working on first? Just being here.
Just feeling good about myself.
Feeling good about yourself and staying sober, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to work on before is just getting sober and maintaining our sobriety. And I think we can also work on mending your relationships, the ones that have worked for you.
Yeah.
I think working on your relationship with your grandmother, your grandfather, and your children, I think that'd be the most beneficial for you to do right now. After we get a little sobriety under our belt, then we can work on these things. Because I think, number one, we need to work on what we have going on in here. Also, you said you wanted to work on your aggression. So I think we need to work on ways that we can cope with when we're feeling stressed or we're feeling, that we need to defend ourselves or something's triggering in our mind. What do you think about that?
Doc, whatever you say.
You think, but do you think that's something that needs to be worked on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. I'm on the last round. Whatever you guys
Right,
think.
I understand, and it's great that you're here. You're making sure that you're taking the right step, and lastly, we want to really try to work on mending a relationship with your kids. Luckily, they're so young that they're not realizing what's really happening to Daddy right now. But I think once you get on the right path, you'll be able to build a good relationship, the one you want, and I can see that you want. So, what do you think about that? Do you think that's something very important to you in your recovery?
Yeah, definitely. Anything. I don't know what else to do.
So this is only your first week here, so we're going to start off very slow, just detoxing, which is going to be a really tough process, and getting through and maintaining our sobriety and getting to that sobriety. So we're going to work on getting you better before we work on these outside factors. But I feel that if we just stay dedicated and just come talk to me whenever you need anything, I think that would be our best bet. So how are you feeling about all this? I know it's been a lot we've talked about right now, but how are you feeling?
I mean, just whatever we got to do. I'm feeling just, hopefully I can get sober, and I'm kind of scared that I'm not gonna know what to do without the drugs, and while we're all trying to sober me up. So I mean, I hope it all works so I can get back to my kids, but I'm afraid it's not gonna, to be honest.
I understand that you think.
Nothing's ever worked.
Yeah, I understand you think nothing's ever worked for you before, but I think now that you have a lot of great supports in your family that are rooting for you to get better. So I feel like with all this, you'll be able to get where you need to be for yourself and also your family too.
I hope so. Yeah,
I hope so too.
I need them back.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so we're going to have you go get some rest, and you can just get acquainted with the system, come meet the rest of the residents and the supervisors, and I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock for our morning meeting. We'll have a group session in the morning where you'll get to know everyone and their stories. Some people are new, some people have been here for a while. And then we'll have an afternoon talk where you and I can get to know each other some more, talking about your concerns and how everything's going. We'll figure out these goals a little more. You feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm just gonna sleep it off, I think.
Okay, that's great. And you had a long flight.
Yeah.
All right. Well, nice to meet you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a good day. Come
Thanks.
to my office if you need me.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.